Anyway,
Either way.
we're live. Welcome to the show. I'm Arielle Nissenblatt, and in a moment, I'll have our guest introduce herself. We are here today to discuss small budgets and what to do with them as creators. And we're going to talk about it from a number of different perspectives. Yes, of course, from what to do with the small budget when you want to make a podcast, but also social media, also video, also anything else you can put on the internet, and how to spend wisely, especially if you're working for a client. If they presented you with a budget and you need to I am the founder of a newsletter called Earbuds Podcast Collective, which you can subscribe to by going to earbuds.audio. I will drop a link in the chat shortly. I also work at a company called Pinwheel, where I run podcasts. I try to help people make shows with sometimes small budgets. So this is a very relevant conversation to me as well. And I hope that it will be helpful for the folks who are joining us now and later watching the replay. Tara, who are you? Where are you joining us from?
Yep. Hi everyone. I'm Tara Jabari. I work a lot in podcasting and social media marketing. And a lot of my clients have been in the nonprofit sector, so no budget. And I've been working in it for over a decade, and I approached Ariel to talk about the most common questions that I've been getting and some of the things that I've learned. And I think I feel like they're like duh answers. But the more that I keep telling people, like, oh, I never
Huh.
thought of it that way. And
Yes.
and then I was like, yeah. And then so it doesn't hurt. And thank you for the opportunity. And I am humming from Phuket, Thailand. I painted this earlier.
So that we can see where you
So
are.
because it's 10 o'clock at night and it's dark. You can't see shit. Sorry. Thanks.
You were allowed to curse on my lives. I've been
Thank
doing
you.
more and more of these live chats. I think they're really fun to play around with. Substack is, it's been around for a long time, but they're adding features all the time. And I find myself having conversations with a lot of people in creator focused industries behind the scenes where we're Zooming, or you and I got coffee a few months ago, and we're talking about things that I think are helpful for a lot of creators. And you said a moment ago that you think sometimes these things are obvious. But I think that's a symptom of you've been in this space, but it's also a symptom of you are an expert. So let's get into this is an expert symptom. So let's share your symptoms with the crowd.
Sure.
But before we
Well,
do, welcome to the folks who are joining us live. And if you're watching this
mm,
later, feel free to leave us a comment. If you're joining us live right now, tell us a bit about why this was an interesting topic
yeah,
for you, what brings you here today. And if you have any questions, we'd love to read them. We'll leave some time at the end for questions for sure, but we can also tackle some of them throughout if they are relevant to Tara's presentation. So, Tara, why don't you kick us off and let me know if I can help you or if I can jump in with anything specifically.
sure.
I will also jump in when I have a question or if I want to clarify something, and to welcome folks who are joining us. And with that, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. So I'll put it in the podcasting idea, and then more of like a social media campaign or just what to do with social media. So one of the big ones is I hear it all the time. They're like, I've been told I should start a podcast
Classic.
now, right? Whether it's I've been told I'm really funny. I'm like, that's great. So am I. But I'm not, Joan Rivers, RIP. Or it's more important that with my clients that are a very niche topic in a nonprofit or an NGO, that they're like, should we start a podcast? And my big advice has been, have you been on other podcasts as a guest? And have you liked that process? The scheduling, waiting around for it to get to release. And then you also have to promote it, because you're the guest and you want other people to listen to it. Have you approached other podcasts to be a guest on? How long did that take to get an answer? Yes, no, scheduling again, all that stuff. If you liked that process for the most part, well, having your own podcast is like that times 10, sometimes times 100, depending on how often you want to do it and all that stuff.
Let me just
Even
cut
if you're not
in.
going to have.
I
Mhm.
put a link in the chat to one of the shows that you produce, but if you want to just give us, I know you make a lot of different things, so that we can drop the links in the chat so people can follow the things that you've made.
Yeah. Which one did you put? Oh,
I put media makers.
Media Maker Spotlight is one of those podcasts that um, is part of a nonprofit for women in film and video of Washington, D.C. And we started it in 2021 to launch it, but it was in the works since 2019. And it's working with, like, speaking with people in the media industry, not just like actors and directors and writers, but we talked to special effects people, crafts people, editors, composers, that kind of stuff. So it was all these different facets to understand it. And when the writer's strike happened and the actor's strike happened, a lot of people wanted to stand in solidarity with them. But we also had a podcast that we have committed to. And we thought media is now also our screen,
Yeah.
including our phone, and influencers are not going anywhere. But what does that entail? So we actually started talking to influencers as well. So we had to get creative in that capacity and be prepared for that because things can go wrong if but also it was niche enough because we were like, are we in the entertainment industry? Because then people were like, we have a book. And we're like,
Right.
that's not media, like
When
a
people were
screen
pitching.
based. Yeah. And then we had to get a little bit choosier because then it's just too overwhelming. And then people are like, well, what the hell do you do?
Yeah.
What's this podcast about?
Yeah. So
So
just throw that back
that's what.
to what you were sharing, and then feel free to jump back in. I just wanted to give folks a little bit of context about what you make.
Yes. So that's like one of the podcasts that I work on. And we've had Bridgerton, people from like the costume, I think it was the choreographer, and hair and makeup department come on. That took like 3 years for us to get them on.
Wow.
And not sure about this coming season, but hopefully. um, Stay tuned. And all sorts of stuff. And then we had the Gina Davis Institute come on, especially right after their Emmys. We approached them and they said, sure, we'll come on your podcast because it is media based on the studies. So
Yeah.
you see how it comes entertain. So when you want to decide, you're like, "Ugh, people think we should start a podcast. One is go on other podcasts. The other thing, and if you liked that
See if it's
process,
right
but
for you. Yeah.
if you did, now you also have to think about how do we want to do it? For instance, like this example, we're like, it's going to be screen based media. So no more like literary and things like that, or other podcasts necessarily and things like that. But get inventive because who knows? Another strike could happen. And what do we do then?
Right.
So then it's sort of, well, now who do you hire? What do you not hire for? In your team, what can you do? And what do you like to do? What can you do? And then what you need help with is like
Right.
the big thing, right? And then see what you have in your budget. I think is like if money was no object, but you want to save money, it would be, for instance, I'm a trained video editor. So one of the things is Who Was She podcast is my passion project that was going to be a film. But after 6 years of trying and two times it almost did get into film, it never went through fruition. And I was like, you know what? I've been working in podcasting for several years now. It's cheap. I'll just put a blanket over me. I didn't even have a microphone at the time.
Wow.
And I'll say the story of the biography on Lydia Zamenhof because I've been inspired by her. I'll just do that. And it is just audio editing. It has its own challenges, but in a way, it's simpler than video
Yeah.
editing.
Yeah. You don't have to worry
So
about jump cuts.
Yeah, exactly. So I knew how to record and I knew how to edit. Am I, Thelma Schoonmaker? No, I'm not. I think that's the editor of Martin Scorsese's films.
I'll do a
I
fact
love
check.
her
I'll do
too.
a fact check.
Thank you. Um, she won 2 Oscars at least. A one for Raging Bull, for sure. Anyway, but it was sort of, okay, I don't have a budget for that. It's a passion project, but I don't have any money. And I know a friend who is a music composer as a side job. And the side job, he worked at a bank, but he was a musician at heart. And so I went to my friend Sam and I said, do you, I cannot pay you. Are you still there? Okay.
So
She's
sorry.
no worries.
I have to go live again.
I think it stayed live.
Oh, we're live. We're
Yeah.
local. We're LA's NPR. Um, no, I think we have to go live again, but now it's telling me I
Okay.
can't.
It
Um,
says live on.
okay,
Do
if
you want to
folks
ask?
can let us know in a chat if we're live, that would be lovely. I don't have access to a chat anymore, do you?
Oh, I can write a message and people still.
Oh,
Play.
no.
Yeah. Christine
Oh,
Evans said yes, you
okay.
are.
Weird.
And I just
Okay.
we'll keep
Keep
going.
going. Keep going.
And hope for the best. Well, thank you.
Yeah, so we'll find out later if this will be recorded, but either way, we're live right now, so let's continue on.
Okay. So it was sort of, I don't have the music capabilities. I could try and find something more affordable, but I wanted a personal touch and have that collaborative. So
Yeah.
I went out and just asked. I said, Sam, I can't pay you, but I will always credit you. And if you wanted me to cite to your SoundCloud or whatever you'd like, let me know. And he's like, yeah, I want to. I miss doing that creative thing. And it's been
Yeah.
4 seasons. We've done 4 biographies of women throughout
Wow.
history. And each time it's a different time period or something like that. And he'll be like, oh, this is cool. This is from a different country. And they use this instrument and stuff. And he doesn't get paid, but he really likes it. And he's like, I have a new YouTube. Can you
And you know
promote it?
what? I think a lot of people forget. I was just having a conversation today with somebody who's earlier in her career and wants to work in the podcast space. And she, one of the pieces of advice that I give to folks is like, you got to make your own thing, or you got to be involved in something. In the case of your composer, your music
Yeah.
supervisor, that's something that he gets to put on his resume, and
Mhm.
it's a job. It's a job. So even if there's a gap in your resume, you get to play around with this, and I love that.
Yes. It's a gap on my resume,
But it's
but
not, because now you are the host of all of these shows, and that is work. That takes coordination, that takes budget management, like we're here to discuss, and all that good stuff.
yeah. Um, Now then it's sort of, you have to decide, well, I needed the editing stuff. Personally, I have Mac and they have the editing tools like iMovie and stuff. I don't like it. So I decided it's worth it to pay for Adobe Suite. And
That
I
rules the
also
world.
teach, yeah, I teach online, and sometimes there are educational discounts. Sometimes there's a nonprofit discount and they don't necessarily advertise that stuff. You got to
Right.
search it. And most people don't. I am so surprised when people are like, wait, there's a discount for that? And I'm like, yeah, why don't you just ask? So,
Right. You kinda gotta
and a lot,
hustle, to find these
it's
opportunities.
the hustle. And oftentimes, whenever I'm at the conferences for these podcast conferences, it's Riverside or Adobe or something like that. Be like, oh, I really do love your product. You got a discount for the year or for 10 years?
Right.
And they're like, well, no, but we could do something, because they don't want to lose you as a customer.
Right.
And you're right there and you put them on the spot.
You might convert in
Right.
the future too. You might, I mean,
And,
ultimately, they're
and
thinking about your network effect. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly, and I'm gonna keep promoting it. So and, on all my stuff, I say, like, "This has been edited and recorded on such and such and such and
Yeah.
such." So, give credit where credit is due, but it's always just you never know unless you ask, right? You're like, "Adobe's like $800. Forget it. Oh my god, it's too expensive." I'm like, "Well, did you ask if there's any sort of discount?
Yeah.
What do you have in pocket? Are you
Yeah.
military?" As a relative of military, can use their email. Um, that's off the record, even though it's not, kind of thing. Um, like all sorts of stuff. So there's ways to get around it just to, especially when you're in the beginning, you're like, listen, I'm
Yeah.
not sure how much it is. Could I do a month free trial?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
And
See if
all
you
of
can
this
actually,
stuff, like you said, it doesn't seem available because they're obviously not going to advertise these major discounts, but these are things that it takes some time to do the research to find out who's behind this, to go on LinkedIn and to go to a specific company's site, to then click on people and then search relevant keywords and find those people and then send them a friend request and then
yeah,
maybe like a few of their posts so you're warming up to them. These are things that take time and often it can feel like, wouldn't it just be easier if I laid out the cash? But then that often will
then
eat
you don't
into
need
your
us to talk
overall
about.
budget. Exactly. That'll eat into your budget. And so, yeah, this is a conversation for the hustlers.
It is, and also so many people who have quite a lot of money are hustlers still.
Yeah, true.
And I was like, "There's a reason."
Yeah,
Um, so the other big thing is though, I mean, that was a big part of it. And I know that like Metricool, Canva, Adobe, they often have some form of discount deal, whether it's an educational one or maybe a military one. Search it, ask it,
yeah,
think of what you have, and see if they'll allow it.
yeah. So
Or if your status, I don't know.
let's go through some of the softwares and services that you use, what they cost, and the process that you've gone through to maybe get a discount or to have a multi-year subscription that brings the cost down overall, and then how you use those in your work with clients. So let's go through your creator stack.
Okay. Didn't have that really prepared as
Don't
much.
worry
Well,
about having it prepared. We can say, what do you use? What do you use to make your
one of
shows?
the so some of them is, um, one client uses a lot of Buzzsprout, and something that Buzzsprout had done that I didn't know until recently was that they have a thing for, where you can just sort of like a buy me coffee
Mm,
option
wow, I didn't
on
know
their
that.
on your Buzzsprout. It's oh, I have it. Buzzsprout started their listener support setting.
That's
So if
amazing.
you just do that,
Yeah,
and so that was for Media Maker Spotlight. And we've been using them for years and stuff. And they're like, there's this setting. And we're like, oh, okay. So people can sponsor you, I guess.
support you. Yeah,
And so we put that support you. And so we're like, let's turn that on, because we were like, if we give it to Patreon, they take a percentage. Or if we partner up with somewhere else, they're like, you're not big enough for us
right.
to try and advertise you or partner up with you with sponsors and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
that doesn't hurt our feelings.
So
Um,
Buzzsprout is your podcast hosting provider, and
that and then we learned that one. And so we turned it on and then we just sent it to the listserv. We have thousands of email subscribers and
amazing.
quite a few board members and stuff. Within 30 minutes, already we had two people who just sponsored us.
Wow.
$5 here, $10 here. And so I think the thing was like $15 a month to now like $7 and a few cents a month. Like already it's less on the nonprofit.
Right.
It, we're like, all we did was say, we turned it on, consider sponsoring us
Yeah.
if you really liked our product. That's like one example. Again, I just asked Sam, I'm like, I can't pay you. But if you love your music and I think you're a great musician, would you be the music composer for this?
Right.
And I credit you. And he said yes. So that's one thing. I used Acast. I haven't seen or checked on it. So for like that's where I hosted Who Was She? but I'll look into it.
And what
And
ACAST
then
does have is a partner program once you get to a certain number
the
of
other,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
once
a
you get
lot
to a
of them
certain
have
number of
affiliate links.
downloads. Yes, and affiliates are a great thing too. So, often you'll hear a podcast say something like, an example, I was doing an audit last week for a podcast called Famous and Gravy, and the host of the show, Michael Osborne, has his own production company. So he will, in places throughout the show where there might be an ad running, usually he runs his own ad. And that is a way potentially to offset costs if the listener audience is interested in starting a show themselves.
Yeah. I really, really like Riverside. More and more, I haven't really used anything else in years,
Yeah.
actually.
They've
Um,
really stepped it up. They have so much going on.
and they also have started partnering up with Adobe that when you export your video and things like that, it can go into Adobe. There's some kinks to it. And every time I see them, they know me by name and they're like, Tara, what do you have for me? I'm like, okay, so when you put in an image, this is a problem. We need to fix this and all that stuff. So
Let me just do a quick time check and also reintroduction of us because I for some reason have lost controls of the live, and I'm not sure if we're live. So if folks are leaving comments, Tara, would you let me know? And
I'm not seeing it.
okay, so I just want to make sure that we're live. And if you are here live, give us a hello. And again, feel free to let us know what brings you here today, what you're hoping to learn, and if you have any questions, we'd love to answer them. And with that,
Yeah.
we'll hope that those comments come in. And Tara,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you, and feel free to pick it back up.
So one of the other big things is social media, which is a lot of the bane of people's existence. And a huge one that I hear is like, oh, do we have to be on everything? So when Blue Sky really picked up after Twitter turned into X and things like that, oh, okay, people are joining.
Hell yeah.
So,
Welcome, everybody.
I always say like it can be really overwhelming. So the top thing is if you don't have the budget to ask for a professional to help, like what I do for my clients, um, and you don't really like it, start with one or two platforms that you do like personally. So if you're like, I still use Facebook, then use Facebook. It's fine. It's still, people use it.
Yeah.
You're like, but don't I need to be on Instagram and TikTok? No, 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 not necessarily. Like, calm down.
Like, first of all, you
Just
don't need to do anything you don't want to do. People forget that.
exactly. Yes, exactly. And then start there. Um, but also, if you do have something where you're like, no, I actually am really good and I'm on quite a few of those things, but where do I? It would be nicer to schedule, or how do I organize the analytics and stuff?
Right.
Yeah, each platform has its own, so it's already in there. But I finally had heard about this one called Metropool, and I
How do you
have
spell
never
that?
gone back. Metrcool.
Cool.
Actually, do I have an affiliate link? Yes, I do. But I actually, so Buffer, Later, Hootsuite, all of them, they have their pros, they have their cons. But one that kept coming up was Metrocool. And I met people who worked at Metrocool. I think it's a Spanish owned company. Um, and they offered me a free month to try it out. And so I did. And before week 2 was over, I was like, I'm paying for this.
Wow.
Then they raised their rates because X changed their algorithm and they're like, we got to change this. Very annoying. It's one of those things where it's like when you had Netflix without commercials and then you paid Netflix more. It's
Yeah.
that's Metrocool. I'm so cheap. I still pay for commercials for Netflix, but Metrocool got me. Um, so I do have the affiliate link, which I'll put in the chat. So that's one thing that I really think made everything a lot simpler big thing is the analytics, and people really neglect the analytics.
Yeah.
So if you feel too overwhelmed or if you want to experiment, it's nice to see it in one place. And you're like, huh, I thought Instagram was actually going to be really more important, but it really wasn't because we didn't get a lot of engagement or click throughs for our events or whatever,
Right.
or our
It's not
episodes.
where people are finding and engaging
Yeah,
with us.
exactly. It's all in one place. And that takes time. Social media takes time, at least 3 to 6 months to really see what matters and what you can really get out of it.
Mhm.
Um, and then that was the other big thing is what kind of content to put out there is always it's to make someone laugh, educate, entertain is the two big things. Um, and if you can do both, that's the best thing. But if you can't,
Yeah. And that's why
educate or
memes work so well. Memes with a
memes,
specific niche.
yeah. But for nonprofits, a lot of the times they're not the happiest of topics. So keeping that in mind, I've been asked a lot of the times, like one of my aunts has kidney failure, and so she would show herself to raise awareness to be a organ donor in general, but she would be showing herself getting dialysis
Mhm.
on her Facebook profile. There's a difference between profile and page. I'm snobby that way. Um,
No, I'm with you.
but so she said, why are people be like, oh, I'm so sorry. That's not my intention. Look at
Right.
what I'm saying is like, go see if you are an organ donor. And I said, because I was like, look at the top nonprofits like Live Strong, which is about cancer. Do you ever see anyone sad? They're
Interesting.
smiling and they're hiking.
Even if it's a tough sell.
Even if they have to be in a cheerful, it's bright colors. It's a sunny day.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have cancer, it's going to be a sunny day all
Right.
the time. If you have kidney failure and you have dialysis 4 hours a day, no one wants to know that. Like,
Yeah.
go show that you
Unfortunately,
had,
people are not interested in a sob story, even if it's something that is really
yes.
sad to you. And that takes a lot of, I think,
And images are
yeah.
what stop us, right?
Right.
So the images are important. And one of my clients was Goodweave, which is a nonprofit to end child labor, especially in the carpet making industry, and then take them to school. So
Wow.
we had to show children in school, but they always had to be smiling and happy. How many times have you seen children like this, smiling with their notebooks and they're
Right.
like, I'm like, very, very rarely, right? But we had to make sure, because when people are scrolling on their phones, most likely, or even on their laptops or something like that, the image has to have that bright message. A kid is happy and it's in a classroom
Right.
and it's somewhere in Nepal, it's somewhere in Bangladesh, it's all that stuff, somewhere in Philippines, something like that. And then you're like, what is this? And they're like, this child was saved from child labor.
Mm,
This is what you can do. Or did you know that Target is Good Weave certified? So if you buy a carpet
interesting.
from Good Weave, no child labor was used. True story. That kind of thing. So that is how we stopped it, right? Like that's how you get them
Stop the
to have that
scroll. Get people interested. Yeah.
And so my aunt, I was like, so after your dialysis, let's say you and your husband go out to a nice dinner and it's a
This
nice
is what you're
moonlight
able to
dinner.
do because you have
This is
access
what
to
you do.
this
Then
mentorship.
your copy says, are you an organ donor? What the hell does that have to do with you and your husband having a nice candlelit dinner? But the image stopped people.
Yeah.
That's the point. And then they're like, am I an organ donor?
Yeah.
Versus, oh, she's bedridden and dialysis, and now I'm depressed
Right.
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
People will avoid it.
Depression
So
does not
that's
cause
the thing.
people to take action. Actually, quite the
It's
opposite.
very rarely. There's also this misconception of like being angry because that's a lot of what people are thinking of and see
Yeah.
it in the news. But you most likely your job is to try and bring awareness to raise money to help end child labor or raise money for some sort of awareness, things like that. So
Yeah.
or to bring awareness to some other thing. So
Yeah.
you want to make it happy. You want people to be excited for that, right? So keep that in mind. Um, so those are my big takeaways. And I know that's going a little over, but is
No,
there
no,
anything
you're
else?
great. I might have a few follow-up questions for you in a moment, but I want to take a second to thank the people who are joining us live. And again, a reminder that if you have any questions, feel free to share them with us in the chat, or if you're watching this later, leave us a comment and we'll get to it asynchronously. But for the folks who are joining us here, what brings you here? Are you currently working with a small budget? Are you working with a client who has a small budget? Are you working to sell a potential client on the idea that they should have a podcast and they're worried about how to apportion things? Tara has given us some information today about how to hustle to maybe get discounts on the products and services that you need to make your audio or video project a reality. Um, and then Tara also gave us some specific examples of the nonprofits that you've worked with that have had these small budgets, and you've worked with them on various projects, sometimes running social media for them or creating strategy, sometimes budgeting a podcast. So why don't we go for our next piece while we wrap things up? Let's have a number, and then let's talk about how you would break down that number for a client. So say, Tara, you are working with a client. You can choose that client in your head and maybe tell us a bit about them. You can make it up if you'd like. And let's say they have a budget of $5,000 for a quote unquote season of a podcast or video show. How would you spend that? And I know $5,000 seems like a lot, or it seems like a little
Yeah.
for some folks. I tried to choose a sweet spot of a number where
Yeah.
even if you're not budgeting, it's not like you're gonna spend 5,000 per se, but it adds up, right? So what would you do with 5,000?
So let's say, okay, I'm going to look into this now. Riverside.com plans. Um, let's go with Buzzsprout.
You can even feel free to, just say the softwares and services and give a range. I might be able to help you with
Yeah.
those ranges.
Yeah. So let's start with we know we need to host, and it's a podcast, right? You said?
You can That's kind of part of the question. Is it a podcast? Is it a video show? Is it something that is called a podcast when it also has video components?
Hmm. Actually, didn't Riverside say they now host they're like
They
their
do, they
own
have a hosting
hosting
provider.
site? They do, don't they?
That makes things
Um,
easier. It makes things more
that do.
expensive from Riverside, but it's also taking the money away from something else that you might otherwise have to pay for, and it puts
Yeah,
everything in one place.
exactly. So you can okay. Um, okay. And then let me just look at metrical.
So Tara is currently making a list of some of the softwares and services that you might need to use in order to make this podcast happen. Some of the things that you need to think about are the hosting component. So your podcast needs to live somewhere on the internet. You also might want a service that aggregates all of your social media and the demographics and helps you schedule your social posts. You also might want to pay somebody to make some music or hustle and find somebody who wants to do it as a volunteer project. You also might want to pay a writer or an editor. Maybe that's somebody on your team already. So these are just some of the things that you might want to budget for. And then the video question is, do you choose to take a chunk of that $5,000 budget and allocate some of it to video production, whether that's on the post production side or on the let's film our interviews entirely and then use some of it for clipping purposes or for the goal of putting out full scale episodes. So those are some of the things. Now let's get to the specifics of how you
Yeah.
break that down.
So I looked into it. So let's say we're going to be as cheap as possible because that $5,000 budget is all we're going to get for everybody, right? Okay, it's doable. Um, Riverside now can host your podcast as well, so you don't necessarily need to find another place. Um, it's going to be video. You can edit within Riverside. It's not that
Robust.
fancy,
Yeah.
robust. don't worry about it. And they can make it friendly for the phone
Vertical
version.
flip.
What is it?
Yeah.
Thank you, vertical. um, and also is really nice with the like social media clips and all that stuff. And that was another thing I was thinking of, like AI, but always double check, triple check what AI gives you.
Yeah.
But there's the pro version without even checking if there's any sort of discount. If you do an annual plan, which is 21% off, it'll be $288 for the
Wow.
year.
That's not
Let's
expensive.
say it's not. But let's say you're like, "Oh, I don't know if we want it for the year." Let's even do it for the $29, let's say $30 times 12, $360. So
So
you
say you want
have
to go month to month. Yeah.
month to month just to be on the safe side. And it's $360, but you have a video format for guests also and all that stuff because it's your computer video.
Right. So you're not recording in
Mhm.
person. This is for a podcast that would be recorded remotely.
Yes. Then you have the editing software in there, and their editing software is a lot better than their video editing.
Mm,
Um, they also have access to some sort of music if you
stock
wanted.
music.
It's
Yep.
sort of
Mhm.
stock music. So let's say you're all right, there you go, you saved money there. And some sort of stock imagery, or if you have your own or that kind of thing. So that's $360 taken care of. You need a microphone. There are any range from 150 to 400 plus dollars, but let's say you save it by like $150, the cheaper ones. But Shure, Rode, I was like those two the most. Let's say it's 200, sort of like in the middle. So
Mhm.
that's $200. That's $560 done. Um, so now you have the editing done, that done, the recording done, and everyone has their how many people are on the thing? Let's say there's 2
And the
guests.
thing meaning how many people, how many seats are you using within Riverside? How many people need to access everything within Riverside?
Yes.
That definitely
So
has
if
an
you're gonna
impact.
have 2 to 3 people in the episode, so you might want 2 to 3 microphones available.
Mhm.
So plus 200 plus 200. Okay. So now we're at $960 for 3 microphones for your staff plus
But
the
you're covering so much with all of that because you've got the editing,
yeah.
you've got the video, you've got magic clips, you've got the remote recording, you got a lot. You got the
Mhm.
hosting. So that's awesome. Let's move on now
Yeah.
to the social media component, and then I wanna touch a
Mhm.
tiny bit on marketing, which I can handle.
Yeah. Yes. So the social media marketing, and also I was going to say, depending on what your thing is, if you use Outlook or Google or Gmail or something
Yeah.
like that to keep all those things, that's also you most likely not going to be part of the 5,000 because
Right.
that's already
Meaning, like, to keep track of all of the files and all of your
Mhm.
communication and script writing and things like that.
Right. So now let's say you want to do MetroCool. Yes, I did put the affiliate link in there, just
Good.
so you know. But if it's just one brand, you can have it for a month for the free, but you have a limitation to how many posts. So let's just say you want to do it for up to a few brands, like 5 to 10 brands, because you'll do the company and then Ariel can put her Facebook and her Instagram on. Tara can put hers, and like the team can have theirs
Mhm.
all in one place to schedule. So that's going to be $18 a month for a starter.
Okay, wow.
Okay.
And that is Metricool, again, for the folks who are joining us later or who need a refresher. Metricool is this is the one-liner from their website. Everything flows better when your content, data, and team are all in the same tab. So it is a scheduling tool. It is an analytics tool for social media.
Analytics is the analytics is so, and Blue Sky is like, we don't do analytics. Oh, shut up. Metricool has given us some form of analytics, just a
Let's
little
go.
bit.
Bring it.
So I was like, okay, cool. So and it also has partnerships with Google and Canva, so you can put them
Wow.
instead of having to download and
Yeah.
upload and all that. Just do that.
Integrate. Yeah.
Um, integrating it, all that stuff. So that's that. So that's $18 a month. So 960. Remember that 18 times 12, 216 plus 960. We have $1,176.
So far that's
Okay.
what we're at for our budget. And
So
that
if
is
there's
out of
three
5,000.
hosts, yeah. So we have three hosts that want to put their profiles up, plus the company's social media. So that's four profiles under a five brands under $18 a month. So you still have a fifth one free uh, available. So that's all taken care of. You put them all together, all of their X, their Blue Sky, their Instagram, their Twitter, their YouTube, whatever, all of there. And now you need to create the stuff. If it's clips, Riverside can take care of that for you. If it's graphics and you're not really a great graphic designer, do you want to use Canva?
Or do you want to use
Um,
Adobe Express if you maybe your organization already has an Adobe license, because often that is a legacy tool that people have had for a while.
sure. Trying to find pricing.
Canva, I pay $15.99 a month for Pro.
50?
15.
That makes more sense.
Yes. It's amazing. And that's just for one
Yes.
seat. That's for one seat, but there are tons of collaborative tools where I can share individual designs with people and they can get in there and make their changes. So that's great. Um, so again, $15.99 times 12 is
Uh, shit.
I can pull out the calculator. Or Edward,
Do that.
15.99 times 12. 16 times 12.
It's like 100 and
It's not a lot. 180?
something.
Yeah, not bad. So adding that to our total,
So 190, let's say.
yeah, we're still way below our 5.
1,366.
That's what we're at so far. So then let's look at marketing, getting the show out there. You've made the show, you're hosting the show, which means you're editing the show, you are creating clips for the show. Now we have to think about a little bit on the marketing side. Maybe there's somebody within your organization whose job is marketing. There's a lot of really great free tools that you can take advantage of. There's a newsletter called Podcast Marketing Magic, which I highly recommend subscribing to for very actionable tips on growing your show and getting it out there, and some very low hanging fruit with regards to what you're already doing, not stuff that you need to spend more money or that much more time on. There are a lot of non-monetary collaborative, I keep saying that wrong because can't decide if I'm saying collaboration or collaborative, but I'm saying collaborative tools or tactics that you can take advantage of, like setting up promo swaps with other shows, setting up social media swaps with other accounts or nonprofit organizations that are similar to yours. And I'm saying nonprofits, but really what I mean is you could be anybody who has a small budget who needs to make something and to hopefully have an impact with that thing. So let's just recap. We've got the hosting provider, we've got the editing software, we've got the music within the editing software, we've got the remote recording platform, all within that. That's Riverside. There are a few other tools that do all of this, but this is the one that Tara uses, so that's the one that we're going with for now. We've got the social media scheduling tool. We've got the analytics also wrapped up within that. And then we've got the Canva account or the Adobe Express account in order to make some graphics. And you can even make more than graphics on Canva. It's really an amazing tool.
Yeah.
You can make a deck on there. They have tons of really great templates to take advantage of and to play around with. Then we've also got marketing. So a lot you can do for free. Take advantage of those free things first. Let's not even put into our budget marketing, although it kind of goes against my principles. But you usually, if you are a nonprofit organization, have somebody on your team who might be able to allocate a few hours a week to marketing.
Yeah.
If you are a solo creator and you do not have that, let's take advantage first of what you learn within Podcast Marketing Magic or some other tools. And really, most of the battle here is becoming a student of the marketing industry, seeing what other podcasters do, seeing what other YouTube channels do, taking advantage of SEO. There are really cool tools out there, like podseo.com is something that I've used a lot to do some keyword research. OSHA is a hosting provider that also has a tool called PSO, which is their podcast search optimization. These are tools that cost money, but you, at this point, like we mentioned, are well below your $5,000 that you've set out with. So there's more that can go into this. I'm conscious of time, so I want to allow us to start wrapping up. If we have any more questions, either feel free to drop them into the chat or to comment on this post so that we can answer you on Substack later. Tara, anything else that you want to share about budgeting, specifically with money, and how people might be able to take the learnings from here and move that to their project, their creative project?
Yeah. So just really like out of this, we've spent $1,366. We have $3,634. Let's say you needed headphones, you needed lighting kit, you needed a new computer. So don't spend it exactly like you said on all of it on marketing or something like that.
And there's also the people, right?
Yeah, and also the people, and like Ausha, and I know Ausha does like a free week or a little while trial.
Mhm.
So when it's like a peak season where you're like, oh, we have a big episode coming up for like a Christmas special or something
Right.
like that, and you're curious about it, that's when you want to try and do it on a trial basis and see if it's really worth it. Then,
Yeah.
then when it comes down to June, and you're like, do we want to try and see if like the vacation time really helps or not?
It'll depend
How much was it out
a
of
lot
this
on the type of show.
$3,000?
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. That's when you want to kind of allocate it and play around with it. And again, if you don't see if there's like a free trial, don't be afraid to ask. Or if there's no discount, don't be
That's
afraid
my
to
number
ask.
one takeaway here. And I think whether you're a nonprofit budgeting for a creative endeavor or you are a solo creator, solo entrepreneur who wants to make a podcast, or a buddy show that wants to make a podcast, you've got to get creative. You've got to start thinking about what you can give in order to make a potential partnership worth it. Look into affiliate plans. And of course, affiliate marketing is a whole thing into itself where you obviously need to have an audience in order to make the sales. But if you can get creative with all of that, that's great. Really cool tool called Code ADX that I recommend checking out that allows you to create a specific code for your podcast for a bunch of products and services. And you can then start advertising for those products and services so that it is almost like it's not an affiliate link but to your audience, but it is an affiliate link. And you then get to say, I'm working with there's a brand on there that's bamboo sheets, right? And we are familiar with these types of products from other types of podcasts that we listen to that have advertisers where they're advertising sheets and bedding and things like that. So you, without a minimum download audience, you are able to start running ads for these products. Not always the case for nonprofits. I know this conversation is broad reaching beyond just nonprofits, but not necessarily something you can do if you're a nonprofit, but definitely something to look into if you are a creator that has full creative control and the content is yours to play around with.
Yeah.
So let's wrap up. One line, Tara, what folks should take away from this conversation.
It's just ask if people are interested in partnering up in some capacity or if there is some sort of discount or something. It never hurts to ask. Worst case, they say no.
Yeah, I love that. And for me, the takeaway is lean on what you like doing, and then you don't have to do what you don't like doing. There,
Yeah.
and I think this applies mostly to social media from what I hear. There are a lot of people, and with video, a lot of people love to say, do I really need to be doing video? Do I really need to be on all social platforms? The answer is no, you do not, because you ultimately get to choose what you want to do. So choose what you want to do, make the show that you want to make, hopefully you have the impact that you want. And if you don't, then come back to the drawing board for your next season and make some changes. Definitely subscribe to all of the free resources that are out there for creators in the creator economy. I've made lists of all of those over the years, so definitely check out my socials for those. I'll probably put them in one place at some point in the future. But Tara, thank you so much for volunteering to share all this information, and to your experience is vast, and you've worked with budgets all over the place, and you've worked with creators all over the place. And like we mentioned, you make your own stuff. So you've got a lot of experience here, and we appreciate you sharing it with us.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. And thanks everyone for joining us.
And we'll end it there.